Do you know what a student code of conduct is?
Yes, I do. I learned it as part of my rigorous RA training that we have at the beginning of each semester.
Do you know how to access your student code of conduct?
I know it is online, and the RAs also have it on the judicial referral system, so that's easy access for us. But yeah, I know it's on the ithaca.edu website somewhere.
What is the judicial system thing you said?
Oh, yeah. So resident assistants are required to, if they see a student breaking the student code of conduct, they're required to go on the judicial referral system and write the student up and send that referral to our residence director. And there, when we are putting in the referral, we have to select which part of the student code of conduct or if a college code of conduct the student broke. And so as through that, we see all the clauses in the code. Yeah.
How often do you feel like the students don't know they're actually breaking a code of conduct rule?
I think all the confrontations that I have made, students knew most of the time that they're breaking rules, but they didn't know they were breaking the student code of conduct rules because, they're widely made aware of the rules through the media, through, simple signs like quiet hour signs, or even just common sense. You don't vandalize, say, a painting, for example. So they don't know the official name, but I feel like there's general awareness, and there's good general awareness, at least among the freshman residence halls.
If you have read your student code of conduct, which you have, how easy was it for you to understand? Are the rules easy to follow?
I would say it's definitely accessible, but in terms of language, but it's a lot. I mean, it's wordy and it's paragraphs and paragraphs. So, because there are so many possible ways that rules can be broken, and I think having resident assistants, resident directors, to break it down to the students, and even as something as simple as a floor meeting, to say, okay, this is what you should not be doing when you go home for break, for example. Close all your windows, open your curtains. So having people to break it down for you makes it easier, but all in all, the student code of conduct is a lot.
Do you feel more knowledgeable of your rights on campus because you are an RA?
Definitely, yeah. RA training, we had officers from the Office of Public Safety come and tell us about what we can do when we're confronting a student, what they can do when they're trying to enter a room and they believe there's been a violation. So definitely RA training has opened my eyes to this world of what I can do and what residents can or cannot do. So yeah, there have been multiple times when I've sat down and thought, wow, if everybody on campus could go through RA training, this would be a utopia.
Do you feel as though people your age are knowledgeable of their rights?
Rights in general or in Ithaca College?
Rights in general.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. Like, in the U.S., I myself didn't find out about my rights until I became an RA sophomore year. And, of course, as in research as a journalism major. But I don't think there is a particular avenue or a requirement even for students to know their rights until they're faced with something like that. So I have friends who didn't know something was illegal until they went through it, and now they're like, that's not going to happen again. So it's until it hits you in the face that, it's only then that you realize it. So no, I don't think so.
So on the other side, do you feel as though people your age are knowledgeable of their rights on campus?
No, but I definitely think there are people who are curious and questioning. So, like, I've had confrontations where, residents have been like, this is my room, I refuse to let you enter. And, that's true, but it's also college property. So there are all these explanations, but there are people who have explored that, hey, these are my rights idea. So I've seen it a few times during my 4 semesters in RA. I can't say it's a phenomenon that's getting more and more common, but yeah, if that answers your question.
Now that you're 18 years old, how do you feel as though your rights have changed from when you were a minor?
I'm going to maybe bring a little international student perspective here because, I think a major part of being in college is the drinking and alcohol culture here. And, back home, I turned 18 in the U.S. When I was in the U.S., but that didn't mean anything because, it's not a big deal. But when I go home, it's like, oh, you're 18 and you're home now. So I think here, I definitely think, like, while being 18 allows for a lot more more rights, I think being 21 is kind of like the hallmark of one's college career. Yeah.
If you could add or change any campus rules, what would you change and why?
That's a hard one.
Any.
I wouldn't change anything because I feel like Ithaca College has been around since 1892 and they've had time to work on those rules and, they're in place for a reason, and as RAs we find out the reasons for those. I mean, quiet hours might sound like a ridiculous concept to some people, but as RAs we know that there are residents whose room is for studying and sleeping, and those things are both impossible to do without quiet hours. So I wouldn't change the rules, but I would try to change the way people look at them. And, it's just, I guess seeing them as rules or labeling them as a code of conduct makes it sound very rigid and something that's kind of like forcing students into a structure. But I think this code of conduct that is actually what makes for a civilized society, and it's actually a part of the education. So I wouldn't change anything except for the way students look at these quote-unquote rules.
Following that, what are some ways that people and students can become more aware of their rights? What can college campuses do differently?
I think definitely, like you pointed out, students need to, it's not just the college that has the responsibility. The students should have the curiosity to go out and explore their rights. I think using resources like resident assistants who are paid to be resources, even resident directors, even professors. I mean, hit up a legal studies professor during, I don't know, the few days leading up to break or something like that, and just be curious. I've reached out to professors in various departments from astronomy to psychology because I had questions about their field that, I thought about, and I was like, hey, maybe these experts would know. So think of the experts on campus and be curious and make use of the vast range of resources that the college has.
And one final question. Do you know any interesting or silly laws on campus?
Yes, I was actually made aware of a pretty ridiculous one during my time as news editor of the Ithacan, and it's a rule that states that it's okay if you leave your room naked. That's okay. That's not considered quote-unquote public nudity. But if you are outside and you suddenly decide, hey, I want to strip, and you do, that could get you into trouble. So it's a silly rule for you.